Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Scientists recently discovered a dome-covered island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Experts tried their best to get inside, but to no avail. 60-Minute producers recently received a letter from inside this dome. Please enjoy this 60-minute exclusive on the witches of Saberhagen. I'm here with the ruler of Saberhagen, Mr. Supreme Witch. Can you tell me a little bit about the history of your dome?
Yes, so the dome actually was created by my mother. She was born in the United States, was often ridiculed because she believed she had witch powers, which she did. And she was bullied a lot. And one day she decided she was done with it. And her few followers decided they were going to leave the state of Indiana where she was ridiculed and start their own society. And she decided that they wanted to just live in solitude, away from all people that were mean and ridiculed her. On her travels, she actually discovered a magic mirror. And this magic mirror granted her 3 wishes that she was able to use to, start what is now the dome.
Tell me about these 3 wishes.
So the first wish was to build a dome around a secluded island. In this dome, there would be a giant cylindrical mirror in the center that all the people there could go to worship. She has the power to control what goes in and out of the dome. I'll explain that a little later. The second wish was that all people there would get along. She grew up in a place where no one got along. It was just an awful place, in her opinion, and so she wanted to make sure everyone got along. And that, in turn, created our 4 different sectors that we have within our dome. We have the fire, the earth, the wind, and the water. And we'll talk a little bit more about those later. But each section has, people, and everyone gets along no matter, their differences. The third and final wish was to have magic seeds. And these magic seeds were imperishable. They will never go away. And they can instantaneously produce fruit or vegetables for us. And then we just harvest the seeds from those crops, and they in turn are also magic seeds. So we never run out of the magic seeds, which is how we're able to get food in a dome without having, access inside or out.
Do you celebrate these days that your mother left the United States, and when she arrived, do you document those or celebrate them?
Yes, those are actually, our 2 main holidays. We have our Freedom Day, which is the first of the 3rd month. It is when she decided her and her followers were going to leave the Indiana society that she lived in. And we also have Foundation Day, and Foundation Day is the day that she discovered the magic mirror and was granted the 3 wishes that basically began our society that we have today.
Oh, you said your mother was the first Supreme Witch. How did you become the new and current Supreme Witch of Saberhagen?
Yeah, so here at Saberhagen, we have a monarchy system. She was the original Supreme Witch, and we believe in the next of kin system. So I was the oldest child, therefore I was able to take over when she passed. When I pass, I will allow my oldest child to take over.
So how do you govern your people? How is that set up?
So here within the dome, we believe in 10 basic rules, and they're known as the witch ways. And all civilians and witches are expected to follow the witch ways, and if they have 10 misconducts of these rules, they are banished from the dome. 0 tolerance.
So who decides what's a misconduct and what's not?
I, as the Supreme Witch, make all of those decisions.
Okay. So do the other witches in the society have input on kind of how the government's run or changed, maybe?
Yes, actually, so one of the witch ways is that all witches must attend a public forum once a week. And at this public forum, our witches are allowed to voice their concerns or any, improvements they would like to see in our society. And again, I believe in a very open-minded nature, as my mother did. She believed all ideas should be heard. So I take into consideration all ideas that are spoken at this public forum, and I see how we can make our society better so that everyone can have, the best life possible.
Okay. So all government changes or decisions kind of start and end with you.
Yes, I am the Supreme Witch, and ultimately I have the last say.
So earlier you mentioned a cylindrical mirror. What kind of value or does that add to your society?
Yes, so the mirror is basically what we believe in. It is our religion, if you will. We turn to the mirror for all of our answers. It guides us through life and everything we do in our society. Once a day, our citizens, and myself included, have to go to the big cylindrical mirror and we have to give it praise and worship it. And if we don't, there's the possibility we could lose our powers. Each citizen also has their own little personal pocket mirror that in any sort of crisis or need, they can turn to that pocket mirror for guidance. The mirror, may not give you answers directly, but in some way or another, the mirror will always give you the answers that you need.
So, how are children in your society educated? Do you have an education system?
Yes, so we actually have a very similar education system to what my mother had when she grew up in the United States. We believe in a 10-level system. So at the age of 6, students will begin level 1, and they will go that full year in level 1, and at the end of the year, they will take a test. And if they pass the test, they get to move on to level 2. If they do not, they will take level 1 again. After you complete each level, you are given a black ribbon to signify that you've earned that ribbon.
Where do these ribbons go?
So every citizen or every witch in our society has a broom that you'll learn about a little later with one of our experts, and these ribbons are tied to the brooms because they are always carried around. So it's just a way to signify the education that each witch has earned. At the age of 12, witches are allowed to drop out of school and go into the workforce if they wish.
Do many choose to do that?
Probably about 30% of our students at the age of 12 decide that it's just not right for them and they drop out and go into the workforce. At the age of 20, students are forced to drop out of the workforce if they have not obtained all 10 levels. They are then asked to leave the schooling and go into the workforce at that time.
Do you make any special exceptions to that rule?
We do not. Again, we have a zero tolerance policy with basically everything that we do here. Once all 10 levels are passed, though, students can get a job at that point, or they can actually go on to secondary school where they can earn some more training or degrees to get better jobs within our society. For every degree they earn, they get an orange ribbon to signify on their broom, just to kind of show off that, they're kind of smarter than the rest of the people.
Cause I'm feeling like I'm running and I'm feeling like I gotta get away. Better know that I don't and I won't ever stop. Cause I gotta win every day. She didn't really wanna pop me. Just know that you will never flop me. And I know that I gotta be a little cocky. You ain't never gonna stop me. Every time I come in and I gotta set it, then I gotta go and then I gotta get it, then I gotta blow and then I gotta shut it. Any little thing and then I think that he be doing cause it doesn't matter cause I'm gonna did it.
Doritos Blaze, a bold new flavor that brings the heat.
Quiet! Hush your mouth. I told y'all mother, y'all can't stop me now. Listen to me now. I'm lasting 20 rounds. And if you want me, then come on get me now. Is you with me now? Then biggie bounce. I know you dig the way I switch my style.
New Mountain Dew Ice, a clear, refreshing lemon lime dew.
I also had the opportunity to interview a cultural expert inside Saberhagen. I was coming through Saberhagen this morning. I noticed that there was almost a job system set up. So how does that kind of work, or how do people get their jobs?
So at the 12th month of every year, once students have graduated from the 10 levels, they participate in what we call the Witch Games. So these are events and games with interviews that determine our societal placement. So each section wears something that represents their fire, water, earth. I am from the fire region, so this is a headband that would represent my fire.
So these witch games, are they just for fun?
To an extent, so some people compete for fun, but normally people will compete to bump up their place in our society. So if they work in a factory and they want to have a different job, they'll go to school for it, but then they compete in the witch games, and that determines their placement based on their individual scores.
So necessarily the section or region you're from doesn't matter?
It matters as a team score, kind of just to gloat, kind of fun, kind of like your Olympics. So it shows that your USA is better than a different country in certain sections. Same with our regions that we're from.
Okay. Teams. What are these teams, or kind of where do they come from?
So we are based on teams from our sections. So my fire region is a whole team, the water region is a whole team, air is a team, and then the earth region is a team.
We just finished having lunch. There was a few odd items at our lunch buffet. Can you tell me kind of a little bit about what you eat or produce here?
So our big production is from our water area because it's what we have access to. So we eat lots of fish and lots of shrimp. Something we had today was our shrimp dip, and that's something that we produce in the water region and then export out to different regions. We also harvest lava rocks from our fire region in the volcano area, and that goes good with our potions, so we rum in glasses and it adds a little bit extra flavor. Or we have something that we call lava bark that you had as our dessert today.
The Supreme Witch didn't allow us to videotape kind of outside in your dome, so can you tell us a little bit about the architecture, maybe what the buildings look like?
So a lot of our buildings are round because when the first Supreme Witch made her wishes on the mirror, she got a pennant, and the pennant is round. And then when the dome formed, it formed the big cylindrical mirror also a round shape. So all of our houses, our buildings, everything like that is a circle, and then each level is a different room within that. But we also put a witch hat on top of our buildings, and that is kind of to praise our Supreme Witch for everything that she's done for us.
And I noticed that you speak English in the dome, and I assume that's because your Supreme Witch came from, Indiana. So are there any other means of communication?
So we have a couple different symbols that we use, just the big ones. So yes, no, the mirror because that's the center of everything, and then our seeds that we grow. But we also have communication, so like you guys have your phones and your computers, we have little pocket mirrors that we are able to communicate with each other in our section and outside of our section.
And these are the same type of mirror that you worship?
Yes, yep.
All right, Savannah, my last question for you is about art and fashion, or kind of those kind of cultural aspects, maybe literature. So what kind of things do you have that kind of represent that?
So our different sections are represented by colors. So fire is red and orange and that kind of color scheme. The water section is different shades of blue. Air is clear, so we went with white or light shades of yellow. And then the earth region is different shades of green, just to kind of show our different sections and how prideful we are of those. We also have a famous poet. Her name is Sabrina. She wrote this one poem that kind of really defines our culture and our civilization and what we're all about, and each student is expected to know it before they graduate.
So what is that poem?
So the poem goes 4 different sections where answers are found in the mirror. Saberhagen thrives.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy Squeeze fuera bloques con grandes Happy birthday to you.
I'm here with an engineer from Saberhagen. Dawn, can you please tell us about some things that you guys create to maybe make life a little bit easier inside the dome?
So our biggest intervention is the dome itself, and it's our main thing of protection, and the Spirit Witch is the only one who allows people and things to come in and out of it. And then we have our biggest thing, which are magic seeds, and it just is a little seed, and you just throw it, and it instantly goes into a full-grown crop. And speaking of crops, we also have something that removes the salt water instantaneously and continuously to get the ocean water. So it's free for our people. So it just kind of clarifies it, and just free drinking water is really nice. And then our personal mirrors are easier for people who can't make it to the main worship. It's easier to travel with, and it's on the go worship. So we never miss a minute of our lovely Supreme Witch.
When I arrived at the dome today, they asked us to come in through and walk through Saberhagen. Is that how you guys normally travel and get around?
Well, we have 2 modes of transportation. We have our personal mirrors, like I mentioned when we talked about our innovations. So we use our personal mirrors to travel within our own sector. And then we have our brooms, like the one I rode in today. And that's how we travel between different sectors. And then we export and import things within our dome. That's all we do. And then for public transportation, we have a bigger version of brooms called semi-brooms that we also use to import and export because we have giant containers on either sides of them, so we can make it easier to just instantly remove things. Ship items and ship.
So we've talked a lot today about the different sectors within Saberhagen. How do the people of your country buy items? And are the sectors different? Is there a collective?
Yeah. Each sector kind of has its own economic focus, if you will. For instance, the water sector highly focuses on fishing and gathering of seafood, fish, and then that is dispersed to other sections. The earth section focuses a lot on the textile materials, the glass, the wood, the brick, the stone, whatever we need to build furniture, build houses, all of that kind of items. The fire sector focuses a lot on our potions and our potion research and how we can just, enhance our potions that we have. And then lastly, we have the wind section, which focuses a lot on crops and taking those magic seeds we talked about earlier and producing crops and then distributing them throughout the dome.
So almost like an import-export system.
Yeah.
Just inside.
Yes, we are a very secluded society. We live within the dome, so we do not import outside of the dome. Everything is done within the dome, but we are very self-sufficient. We have everything we need within the dome, and we import and export what we need to the different sectors.
So how do the people of your country actually pay for goods and services?
So each sector has their own form of coin that they can use within their sector. As a whole in the dome, we have one universal coin that can be exchanged for the different sector coins, that if we need to purchase something from sector to sector, they would use that universal coin.
So you say that you're secluded and self-sufficient, so we have lights, how does that take place within your country?
So within the dome, we focus and we are solely powered by solar energy. So in each sector, there is one main solar power plant that collects the sunlight that comes in through the dome, and then that energy is then dispersed throughout the sectors by wires, similar to how you might see in the United States. Again, the dome is semi-permeable. I have that power to allow the water and the air to get within our dome, which is how we get our water and air. And then lastly, we have actually created a potion that allows us to never have to use the facilities that maybe you would have to use outside of the dome. So again, the people every day take a potion so that they do not have to create waste in their body. That way we never have to focus on the plumbing issue.
All right, Supreme Witch, I think we're starting to wrap things up. So I noticed that you're wearing this pennant necklace. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so the pennant was actually given to my mother by the magic mirror when she completed her 3 wishes. The pennant gives you the power to allow whatever you want to allow in and out of the dome. So as Supreme Witch, I have to wear around the pennant so that I can have the power of the dome. If I take it off, I no longer have that power, and eventually I will pass on the pennant to my next of kin when they take over.
Well, we really appreciate the opportunity to come and visit Saberhagen and learn a little bit about what it's all about. So, thank you.